The museum at MFIT has a number of important dresses by the American couturier Charles James, a designer whose intricate gowns helped to define mid-century glamour. James was born in England to a wealthy family and experienced an international upbringing. He was a highly eccentric designer who was best known for his sculptural gowns that combined rigid construction techniques with a fluid use of fabric. These are methods James acquired early in his career when he worked as a milliner in Chicago. Although James had no formal training as a dressmaker, he created complex gowns that often recalled silhouettes of the 18th and 19th centuries. These lavish dresses evoked the lines of regal panniers, as well as Victorian corsetry, crinoline, and bustles. However, James was also inspired by the shapes and forms found in nature. This was a topic the museum explored in its 2017 exhibition, Force of Nature. In fact, the silhouettes of some of his most acclaimed gowns reference objects in nature, among them the swan and tulip dresses. The tulip gown earns its title by suggesting the shape of an inverted flower. It also highlights James's skill for combining fabrics such as velvet and satin to create a striking contrast. The swan ball gown features fabric gathered at the rear, creating a bustle, suggestive of a swan with its wings folded across its back. Although his gowns bestowed a grace and elegance on their wearers, they could also be extremely difficult to move or sit down in. There is a story of one client who had to purchase 2 opera tickets just to accommodate her gown. This sensual evening dress is titled La Sirène. It is a tight-fitting sheath with horizontal tucks that radiate outward from a spine-like center, suggestive of a crustacean. Because of this, it is popularly known as the Lobster Dress. This dress was designed in 1940, a time when surrealist tropes, such as lobsters and notions of metamorphosis, were prevalent in both art and fashion. The fashion illustrator Antonio Lopez tapped into this notion of metamorphosis when he depicted James's lobster dress transforming into a shoe. However, James had a notoriously difficult personality. He was a meticulous craftsman with a reputation for not completing clients' orders on time. He was even rumored to borrow back a dress from one client only to lend it to another. Charles James's greatest masterpiece was his cloverleaf ball gown, constructed from over 30 pattern pieces. This shocking pink version features a draped overskirt atop a rigid, undulating 4-lobed skirt. When worn, the skirt is designed to balance on the hips and generate lift as the wearer moves. It is not only a work of art, but a masterpiece of engineering. Aside from ball gowns, James designed sculptural suits and coats. His pagoda suit in red and gold silk brocade showcases James's sophisticated use of color. And this wool tweed coat, designed in 1936, highlights James's early experiments with draping fabric on the bias. His sharp tailoring creates a body-glorifying silhouette enhanced by sculptural detail. Charles James created garments for some of the period's most stylish women. His tree gown was named after his client, Marietta Peabody Fitzgerald Tree, mother of the 1960s model Penelope Tree. However, despite his notable clientele, James did not achieve widespread fame, due in part to his poor business acumen and eccentric temperament. Brilliant but tormented, he was admired by his contemporaries, including Christian Dior, who called him the greatest talent of his generation. In his 50-year career, James produced less than 1,000 garments, making his work highly sought after and valuable additions to the museum at FIT's collection. To learn more about Charles James, visit our online collections.